Oh,
Hey
wow.
everyone, we are here. Hey everybody, welcome. It's SVT time. It's Tuesday. It's I don't even know what's the date. September 16th. Thank you. You would think I've done this enough times. This is episode 88.
Wow.
Imagine.
That's amazing.
Harmony, welcome again.
Hey guys.
Thank you so much. This is everybody. Please meet Harmony Kelley. Harmony,
Hi,
please
everybody.
meet everybody. You've been on this show enough times. You know what's going on.
We were just discussing that. Yeah. I think this is like my fourth time or so to come on. So
I'm gonna say
almost at co-host status.
right. Yeah. Well, in some cases, and we were asking like, who else has been on the show multiple times? And of course, you've been on, Eva.
Yeah.
John Button was on a couple of times. Yeah. So,
that's awesome.
It's whenever anybody needs a hoodie, they come back on the show.
I love it. You guys have the coolest friends who are always willing to do this.
We really, and I gotta say, yes. And just full disclosure, anybody that's watching, like, you guys, we don't pay anybody to come on the show. Like, you guys donate your time and your knowledge, and you're so gracious with your time coming on here. So, I mean, the least we can do is send you a hoodie. Just not that you need a hoodie in Austin where it's 100+ degrees.
I know. I was just telling them that if it weren't 90 degrees in Austin right now, I would be repping my beautiful Ampeg hoodie. But it's a little too warm here for that right now.
Yeah.
Soon. Thank you. Yeah, my little rep in Texas though. So
that's awesome. That is awesome. And we've got the usual suspects calling in: Ray Chu, Paul from the UK. There's another Robson Ferreira. Say hello to Brazil. Do you know? Say hello to Brazil. Sorry.
I will say hello to Brazil. I will be in Brazil in like a month.
Oh, cool.
So hopefully, Robson, I'll see you there.
Thanks. What are you doing in Brazil? That sounds fun.
I'm touring with The Calling, and we're doing 9 shows, I believe.
Oh, how cool. That's awesome.
They're mostly festivals, so I'm really excited.
That sounds super fun. Yeah.
And he's not taking me.
I'm not taking Dino.
I say that jokingly, but there was a chance where I was actually going to tech for Dom.
And I was going to be the biggest diva if he was.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh.
Right. Yeah. Can you picture that? Like,
I'm trying to picture this in my mind of how that would work out. But
every SVT time every night.
Oh my gosh.
Every bass would be out of tune if that happened. I would just say that.
A few cents off.
Just a little bit off. Yeah.
Just enough to drive them crazy.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Harmony, we know what you've been up to, but tell everybody what what you've been up to and what's going on.
Man, what month are we in? September. We just had this conversation.
Yeah.
I honestly, you guys know this, like being a musician, and if you travel a lot, you have no idea what day it is or what month it is or what city you're in. So I just about maybe 2 months ago or so got off of a 2-month-ish residency at the Sphere with Kenny Chesney, which was, I mean, I don't even know. It's like people ask me, how was the Sphere? It's like there are few words that can actually describe what that experience is like. But we were there from, I guess we got there in part of May, and did some run-throughs, rehearsed the show, because it's, we've been touring a lot, and we obviously play stadiums and arenas and sheds and all that stuff. But the Sphere is kind of its own animal. And if you've seen a show there or played a show there, it's like the content is really a big part of the show, which is kind of, we always have content for, Kenny's show, but this is, it hasn't been such a huge part of the show as it was at the Sphere, because the Sphere, it's like the video is the whole, the whole dome, the screen is the dome. So it's just everywhere you look, it's an immersive experience. So that was new. Yeah.
There's something like visually when you're looking out, is there a disorientation factor because it's so massive, and like how does your brain like process the scale of things?
Yeah, we had to they actually took us up into the seats before the first show and sat us down so that we could watch the video for every single song and the content, and just to see what the audience is going to see, because when you're on stage, number one, the perspective is totally off,
Yeah.
just if you try to turn around and look at it, it's going to look totally different up in the seats. But it's also like, yeah, it's pretty, it can create a little motion sickness and some vertigo and disorienting to kind of try to watch it and see all the stuff that's happening around you. So it was nice to see it before the show started. And then when we're on the stage, just kind of like face forward, don't try to turn around and don't look up for sure, but because it's weird.
PA like vastly different because like visually they don't want to like I'm seeing a ton of videos that people have posted, but I'm not clocking like what the actual PA looks like or even if it's there because the band looks so tiny next to like just a massive backdrop.
Yeah, that was the crazy thing. And I mean, Robert Scoville, who we also had on before to talk about all this, with bass specific, the rig, but he would be able to speak more in more techie speak about this than I, but the way the PA is set up at the Sphere, the speakers are actually kind of embedded behind the screens.
Okay.
And I want to say there's like 18,000 speakers, and they're all kind of pointed at different seat clusters.
Yeah.
And so when he was kind of prepping for the show and mixing, they did a lot of the programming. There was a space in Burbank, I want to say, that's kind of like a quarter size of the Sphere where you go and do all the programming. And then there's also another rehearsal complex there in Vegas where we went, and he had this whole crazy setup with this circular speaker PA system around him where he was kind of using to program that. But yeah, that was a weird thing that, we're not used to the PA being behind us. And so for us, at least in the kind of the back, the people in the back of the stage who were singing, like Wyatt, our keyboard player, and I both sing, and we're both kind of on the back line, closest to where the PA is, and so they had to, Robert Scoville had these, kind of, they almost look like kitchen mats, and they had like a trigger function on it. And so we had to, and that was new, and that was probably the most complicated thing to get used to, because we would have, we've had like a gate on the mic before where you go up, and but for these it was like he even had it set up, I want to say, between him and our monitor engineer, where they were using some plugin where Opie had something said. I can't remember. This would be a great question for our Brian Baxley, our monitor engineer, and Robert Scoville. But you step on this mat and the mic slowly comes on, but you have to like be really intentional about stepping on the mic and getting like right in front of the mic. And getting about an inch on it. And then as soon as you're done singing, to get off instead of like standing on the, because it it was
wow.
It just there's just a lot going on, between us playing and the tracks and so
wow.
But that was honestly the weirdest part. I feel like our team is so great at dialing in the sound, and our monitor engineers are amazing, and we've got great ears, and the mix is great. So everything else was there. It felt like, okay, this is like a show that we've played a million times before, but with the PA behind us, that was the one thing that took a little bit of getting used to, for sure. So
what's it like doing a Vegas residency, like in terms of staying there? I'm assuming you the whole time. What do you do during the day? Do you just sleep all day? Like,
man, a bunch of us took our vehicles out there. So I kind of made a little bit of a road trip out of it. And, I'm in Texas, so it wasn't that, I took a few days to get out there and went through like Santa Fe and Sedona. And then I had my car there. And at first I was like, is this crazy to take my car, to Vegas for 2 months? And man, it like honestly saved me, because I think I'm not a Vegas person. Like I don't gamble. I don't really like to go out 5 nights a week. And, so for me, it was like, all right, if I have my car out there, I won't feel as stir crazy. And there's all this amazing stuff that's within, 3 or 4 hours of Las
Yeah.
Vegas,
Yep.
you know. So a few of us took like a camping trip to Zion, which is 3.5 hours away. And that
Nice.
was incredible. I don't know if you guys have been to Zion, but that
Okay.
was
Love it.
incredible. So just that. And then like Mount Charleston is 45 minutes outside of Vegas. And I mean, the temperature drops, I don't know, 20 degrees just within 45 minutes of going up into the mountains. So when it was like, 95 degrees down on the strip, you could kind of cruise up there and do a hike and it would be 75. So that was cool. So next year, so we're doing it again next year.
Oh, great.
Yeah. So I will do the same thing
Yeah.
next year, take my car out there.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. I mean, once you are in a city for a couple months, you start to kind of figure out where the locals hang out and they don't hang out on the strip. they don't really hang out down at the
Right.
casinos. So unless they're working, as a dealer or a waitress or a, bartender or whatever, they're not really hanging out at the casinos. So we found some places that were kind of off the beaten path a little bit over there.
That's funny.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So were you as a residency, were you playing every single night, the show every night with time off and be like sporadic breaks, or how did that work?
So once we got going, we were doing every Wednesday night, every Friday night, and every Saturday night. So
okay.
yeah, so it was kind of,
Okay.
but I mean, for us, it's so different because we've never done a residency anywhere. I mean, at most we would do like 2 nights at the Hard Rock at the Joint or 2 nights at Mohegan Sun or something, but
Gillette
that
Stadium.
yeah, that's, I was going to say like 2 nights, maybe 3 is the most that we've ever really done. So for us to kind of pull into a place and set up camp and be there, that was interesting. And I think a lot of us didn't really know what to expect. And I didn't really know what Kenny was how he was going to feel about the whole thing, because we're so used to just kind of having this machine and we go and we do a show, we load in, we play a stadium, and then we are on to the next spot, and it's a different crowd, different venue, different weather, different landscape, every week for 6 months. And so for us to kind of be in this one place and not move for 2 months, it was different, but I honestly loved it. And the Sphere, man, I know it's like the Madison Square Garden. It's the same team that kind of staffs that and runs that. But man, the staff at the Sphere is like one of the best staffs we have. I mean, we couldn't believe how friendly and warm and accommodating. And, it's like, not that we don't get that often, but I think it's also that you don't get an opportunity to get to know people when you're pulling into a place for 1 or 2 nights and then leaving, so it was really cool to see the same people, and get to know the people that, are security by the dressing room and, like it was really cool. So
no, I wasn't sure if it was like, if you're doing like a Broadway play, you're doing 8 shows a week or 7 shows. I wasn't sure if that was the case or not. So
man, I like for us to do 3 shows in a week, the first couple of weeks, I think everybody was kind of like, whoa, we're going to have to get used to this, and just kind of pace yourself, because even with the Sphere, with the content and, we still had a pit, we still had like a GA section with people right in front of the stage. And for him, that was really important because he's so engaging with the crowd, and he's still, we went to see the Eagles and we went to see Dead and Co. And that was part of that, at least for the Eagles show, the Sphere was kind of like, look, you guys, you should come if you haven't seen a show, which none of us, I think, but maybe one of us had seen a show there. It's like, you guys got to come see what you're going to be, living in for the next 2 months. And so it was interesting to go see the Eagles there and then to see Dead and Co. And it's a totally different show, I mean, and those shows were very different from each other, but like even our show, it's like, I think Kenny still wanted to make it about the engagement with the band's engagement with the audience, even though, you know, when the perspective is like the stage is the size of a postage stamp and then you have this massive thing, you know, but we had all this IMAG video worked into the content, and we still had I mean, that was something that was different from our show too, is that we had our handheld camera ops on stage with us, which they didn't have with Dead & Co. and the Eagles. It was all kind of like a robo cam on a track, you know, and their video director would fill in some of those shots, which was great. But Kenny is very, it's really important to him to have that engagement with the camera guys on stage and to, you know, so we had two front of house cameras that were out front, and then three handhelds on stage, I think. So, and then there were a couple other just like house cameras. But so, you know, we're kind of doing the thing that we always do, which is a lot of interplay with the camera people. And so those are the shots that they're throwing up onto this massive screen. So
like to play. I mean, it's one thing to see it in Gillette Stadium. It's another to see it like on the Sphere. Like that's.
Oh my gosh. It was, it was crazy. I would get these like videos from people who were in the audience of like, oh my God, I got this video of you on. I'm like, oh, so massive. Like my head is, you know.
I was just going to say the big head Harmony poster.
Exactly. This was that in real life in times like 100, you know.
That is so funny.
Like check your nose before we go on stage.
Yeah, right.
You know,
right.
Make sure you don't have any. Like, yeah, exactly. Is your fly down? Do you have any like bats in the cave? You know,
that's funny. I was going to ask you, like, did you still have the Roman cameras? You know, the cameras roaming around on stage, and they're being projected on the Sphere. So
yeah, it was cool. You know, so it was like a different venue, a different show, but we still made it our show. You know, we still made it comfortable for us. So,
did you have like? Once you got in the flow of things, are you still meeting the early days of the week to kind of run through the set again? Or is it kind of like once you rehearse, it's like you got it and you're just showing up for the shows?
Yeah. So like we, sorry, my cat's saying hello. Get out of here.
Cats and dogs are welcome.
Oh man.
Dogs are welcome.
She's like, what are you doing? Who are these people that you're talking to? So we, you know, because we'd never done this before, and it's interesting because the content is so specific that, you know, we had a whole the video crew is much bigger, and there was a whole crew of people who a lot of them work on Kenny's music videos, and so we had them creating some of the content for this. And then also even at Gillette last year, we had taken out, you know, I want to say there's 3 or 4 cameras that exist in the world that can, you know, shoot video for the Sphere for whatever that crazy aspect ratio is. And so we had those out with us at Gillette, like on stage and then down front. And then they had one, I want to say up in a helicopter shooting some. So those shots are kind of integrated into the content, which is crazy.
Oh, cool.
But yeah. So they spent a lot of time making content, and they spent a lot of time trying to, you know, because it's not, you know, as much of a show where you can go kind of call audibles, you know, and so like everything's pretty specific to what's going on, and the video crew is much bigger, and you have different sets of people triggering different things and doing, you know, the time code and all that. It had to be like, we started rehearsing for this in Nashville in like January.
Oh, wow.
So like January, February, March, April, we were in Nashville like for 1 or 2 weeks a month, just kind of like rehearsing songs, getting him to a place where we had a set list, you know, because trying to figure out like, nail down the content, you know, for the show. And then we went to Vegas in May, and we did run throughs of the show at this kind of a smaller venue out there. But then because of the fact that the Sphere is so busy, and so, you know, when they're not doing shows, they're playing movies during the day, you know, and I suspect it's like you got to make money to keep the lights on, because that is not a cheap building to operate, So we had a very small window of time that we could spend in the Sphere doing run-throughs of the show. And it was really like the first week of the show, when the show started, like that, I want to say Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we were able to get in and do some run-throughs. And I think, from what I'm remembering, I feel like because originally they were like, you can either start at midnight or you can start at like 5 a.m. or something, because it was kind of like, we're going to be doing this stuff during the day. So you can't be in there. Even when you're the main act that's about to do a residency there, they're still like, hey, we've got stuff going on. So you got to kind of work around this. So I think we did 3 days of run-throughs in the Sphere, and then that was it. And then we were like, okay, and then we're doing our first show. So, it's like, oh God, I hope everything goes as planned, and I hope everything gets triggered correctly, and that the video comes on when it's supposed to, and the timing works out, and
So much can go wrong.
Oh my gosh, so much can go. There's just a lot of moving parts, just in any show, but specifically that show. So,
well, I love that in a world of it seems like, revenue generated in entertainment just like seems to dwindle, or people are making less and less money on music, whatever. I'm so happy this Sphere exists to be this thing that is like so outside the norm of, and so like grandiose of what we are used to experiencing, that it just kind of at least is like elevating entertainment a little bit.
Yeah, and it seems like the people who've played there are up for going back, so that says something about the experience from the band's perspective, and that the Eagles want to go back again and again, and the Dead and Co want to go back, and we're going to go back, and so that seems to be the trend. But I don't know if the Backstreet Boys, they're going back again too.
Oh the age range where it's like all my friends are making their
I think
there.
They're showing. In fact, Mike, one of our coworkers, was there. They're showing The Wizard of Oz.
Yeah,
and I was like, I think that would be really cool to go see at the Sphere, especially.
Oh my gosh!
If you're a Wizard of Oz fan.
They were prepping for that kind of when we were still there. They were starting to do some promos, and they were like, we went in one day and they were kind of cleaning up from doing some run-throughs of that, I guess. But there were these little like paper confetti leaves on the floor. And now, like, I'm realizing that there's the whole, during the tornado scene, they blow air, and these little leaves and stuff that are blowing around, and like, it looks incredible. And I think that's going to continue to show on into next year, like March, I think, as at least. So I think it's probably one of those things where they put it out there, and then if it's like gangbusters, which it is, then they'll just kind of keep rolling it. But I'm like, I hope it's still there when we go back. I would love to see that.
I'm the same way. I would love to see it.
A couple artists that both of you would like just die to see at the Sphere.
Man, that's a hard one, because for me, it's like the people I would love. I'm like, some of my favorites are no longer living. Like trying to imagine like seeing somebody like Prince.
Oh man,
at this fit, you know what I mean, with all the costume changes and the choreography and all the stuff happening. But man, I don't know. That's a good question, because it's also like, the Eagles is not a band that I would have thought like
that would really translate there.
That's like, they're really going to make use of the content, or it's a really visual show. But like seeing it there was like, whoa, like I mean, it was like amazing. So I don't know, it kind of changed my mind on what I thought would be, a typical show to see at the Sphere. But I don't know, what would be your?
I keep thinking like of all the current kind of like in the rock space, like I feel like Tame Impala would be like perfect there.
Ooh, yeah.
Visuals and stuff could be really cool.
I can see that.
I didn't catch that. Who?
Tame Impala. I also think I'm a big fan of the artist Tycho. I think he could do a really cool set there. just vibe music, you know.
Yeah, man.
But I've never been yet, so I'm excited to go and check something out.
Do you know what would be your magic artist to go see there?
I mean, Prince obviously would be one of them. That I think that would be incredible. Off the top of my head, like when you first asked, I would have to say like I'd have to think like Pink Floyd.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Would be
that makes
like
sense.
You know, just as far as like just the whole package, the visual, the music, the story.
Yeah.
You know, it's got to kind of tie into, you know, like you said, I wouldn't think that the Eagles, like they're not a visual band. You know what I mean? Like they're a stage band that, and I love the Eagles, don't get me wrong, but I don't see like Don Henley or Timothy B. Schmidt like running around on stage.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They go up and they perform their songs and it's cool. But I'm just trying to think like other visuals, just visual bands that I would like.
I even think that, you know, and I don't know what, I mean, I'm wondering what someone like Pink would do in a space like that, because of, you know, she's got the whole like, you know, she flies around a lot, and is that a thing that could happen in the Sphere? Because if so, that would be amazing. And like, that's a very visual. I don't have to ask Eva. Like, is that something that Pink's ever considered before? Or
that would be
but it would be awesome.
She flew around at Fenway Park, and there's no ceiling there. So
wow, that's true.
Yeah. Amazing. Paul actually, two great suggestions, Paul. David Bowie and Rush.
Yeah.
I was going to say Bowie along with Prince was my other kind of like, unfortunately that will never happen. But like, if you could just magically say this person would be incredible, Bowie for sure. Rush. Yeah, man.
Yeah. But you know how they have, like at the Hollywood Bowl, they'll have like a John Williams night, or they'll have like a Star Wars night, or they'll do something like special orchestra with the visual.
Yeah.
If they got like an all-star band together, did a Prince thing or did a Bowie thing, that could be really cool.
That would be awesome.
It's like a tribute kind of thing.
Especially John Williams, like hearing all his score, like do a John Williams tribute with footage and that. See, why aren't we producing shows like this, Bob? You know what I mean?
I'm just
anybody listening, we want 20%.
I was going to say, you guys need to start work your way into doing programming at the Sphere or something. I don't know what they're thinking, but
speaking of Prince, I was in Minneapolis last month, and I got a chance to go to Paisley Park.
Oh, man.
And if you're ever in Minneapolis, it's like, it's kind of like it's like hallowed ground. You know what I mean? It's like going to the Motown recording studios, Hitsville in Detroit.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Just like all the stuff that was done there. It was a little kitschy because now it's, you know, it's a museum, obviously, but to just like walk around and walk in the studio where, like, you know, you think 10 years ago, Prince was in there 24/7. Like this was the studio that he lived in, basically.
Wow.
Yeah. It was really cool.
I agree. Cool. I felt the same way. Like we went there on a little tour whenever it's probably maybe 5 years ago when we played in Minneapolis, and we were able to go, and man, it's just, and I thought the same thing. I was like, God, it's a little bit, you know, kitschy maybe is a good word for it. Like you said, it's like, it's clearly a money-making business deal now, but it's still so cool that it's like, that's the space, you know?
I had to ask the tour guide. I was asking, I said, so I know you probably weren't here when Prince was living here, but I have to ask, like, did he really have this many pictures of himself on the walls when he was living there? And she kind of laughed. I said, because if I did that at my house, my wife would my kids would like be dead.
Oh my gosh.
But I'm like walking around, you're like seeing these big murals of Prince on the wall. I'm thinking, yeah, he probably did. I mean, he, you know, considering who he was, I'm sure he had, like we all do, we have an ego to some degree, but
it was like a gift from a famous painter, and you're like, I can't not put that on the wall. You know?
Yeah, it's like, you know, if Marcus Neiman came in and said, hey, we're going to paint yeah, of course. But Was it Marcus Neiman?
Even
Who was it that did all the Sports Illustrated? Anyways, I just, I
Yes.
kind of, thank you, Harmony.
Sure.
You're welcome.
So
I want to pull up Cameron's got a cool question. What is the most important thing Harmony wants to hear in the IEM mix? And while you guys answer this, I will be right back because I have to attend.
Oh, is this baby?
Yeah.
baby duty.
He's on dad duty. I love
It's
that.
all right. It's all good.
It is. It's just real life, you guys. This is real life.
When we say this is SVT time live,
I know. Here we are. This
Yeah.
is it. I got cats. There's babies. Like what,
I got nothing.
Cameron.
I got my coffee.
Like I've probably talked to Dino about this before, that like before I got this gig with Kenny, I had never worn in-ear monitors before. Like I was an old school Austin club gal, so it was just like a wedge mix, and sometimes it was good, sometimes it was, not good.
Yeah.
So I got this gig with Kenny, and it was like, the in-ears that we're using are these JH Audio. I'm using the Roxannes, and it took me a while to, get used to it, because it's like, it's almost this feeling of like claustrophobia, right? Where you're not used to feeling like your ear completely closed up. But man, for singing, I don't think I quite realized how great it was. And once you kind of got used to, like, for me, it's like hearing myself in my ears that close, with it. But it's like our monitor engineer, Brian, he's also Dolly Parton's monitor engineer. He's been her monitor guy for years and years. He is so great at dialing in a mix that sounds like, you're not existing in a vacuum, so it's still, it still breathes, and it's still flexible, and it's still, they've got, audience mics out wherever we play. And so he's dialing in a little bit of that, so it sounds, organic. So for me, it's like, I honestly have a little bit of everything. And I do have, I've been talking to him about this over the last couple of years, because I've been sort of struggling to hear vocally, to hear pitch. And so I'm messing with my, inner monitor volume level, but it's also like, sometimes, when you're playing bass, even if I have some other stuff in my mix, it's like, with that much low end, you can't necessarily hear the clarity of the note. And so for me, it's like having something like keys in my ear, so that I can kind of have a pitch reference for singing, so that is helpful. But I have a little bit of everything, and honestly, he is able to pan everything which is really, I mean, it's like you don't understand the importance of that until you have it. And then it's like, oh, that's so crazy, so it's like having a little bit of, Danny Rader's guitar, who's our stage left guitar player, and he'll kind of be coming from over there, and then have a little bit of keys, and Wyatt's right there. So it's like everybody spatially is where they are, which is incredible. And I wouldn't have thought that would have been a necessary component to that. But it's amazing how it just keeps it really accurate for me. And so I don't know. I have a little bit of everything. I'm heavy on the bass, heavy on the vocals. And then, guitar, we have a lot of guitars in our band too. So it's like Danny Rader, Kenny Greenberg, John Conley, and then sometimes Chesney's playing guitar too, so it's like, and not necessarily they're all electrics at the same time, but sometimes, John's playing acoustic, or John's playing, fiddle, or Danny's playing bouzouki, or, but there's always something going on. So, you're back.
I'm back.
Do you find, and I will say this, for anybody that is kind of on the fence about going in-ears or not in-ears, a great in-ear mix, you'll never go back to wedges. A bad in-ear mix, you'll hate them forever.
I was gonna say, you'll never go back to in-ears.
And I mean, I've had both, and I still, like, this Thursday, I know where we're playing New Hampshire Motor Speedway, and the guys there are phenomenal. Like, I can't say enough about them, but I will say, Harmony, do you notice, and Dom as well, I noticed for the longest time, speaking of singing backups with in-ears, I had the hardest time hearing pitch.
Yeah.
I could not match pitch. And then I remember April saying to me, because her vocals are so loud in her in-ears, I realized I have to have my vocals so far over everything that's coming in my in-ears, just my vocals, so that I can at least match pitch. Do you find yourself doing the same thing as well? I'm wondering if it's like an in-ear thing.
I feel like I do, but then there's also like a sweet spot. I'm curious, Dom, if you'll feel this way too, that like if you get your vocals too hot, that then it's almost like the fear of like, it takes away that. So I had to like dial in the sweet spot where I can really hear myself well, and a little bit of other harmony singers, and then, keys, a little bit of keys for pitch reference,
Yep.
but if I'm too hot, then I think it almost like it like kind of freaks me out, and then as I'm playing these mind games with myself, like, oh my God, am I too hot? Like, so yeah, I have had to kind of play with that mix a little bit.
It's like typically if your vocal's too hot, you'll be sharp, and if it's too quiet, you'll be flat.
Yeah.
Really?
Try to push. Yeah. And for me, the biggest bummer about in-ears for me, but like you said, if you have a great engineer, great mix, then you have no issues.
Yeah.
It's the best thing ever. But is like the amount of space. You can only have so many things taking up that space to really be able to like hear yourself and do all. And I want, as a producer, everything in there and all the ear.
Yeah, totally.
And it just bums me out that I can't have that, because it just doesn't work that way. Like there's only so much that I can put in there that to not overtake my vocal. But as a singer, I love in-ears because there's just like a delicacy that you can't get in terms of like breath control or just hearing inflections. You feel like you're in the studio more than if you had wedges. It's just a little tougher.
Yeah, no, so, I agree. I got
to write that down, Dom. So if you're too hot, you tend to sing sharp.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I hope I'm right on this.
I think that's right, Dom. I feel like, because I've heard the same thing too, and I'm like, oh God.
And not hot enough, you're gonna sing flat. Interesting. Okay.
A video that I saw, and you can never really tell, like people, just taking video at a show.
Yeah.
Last year in Brazil, there was a show, and somehow my mic, because I think I opened for the calling, then played in the calling. My mic was somehow hotter than Alex's, and when I was singing backgrounds, it was just like so loud, and not necessarily on. And I was like, I think I'm a little too loud in my ears. So
interesting.
It's wild. Yeah, I guess it's like a brain, like something happens in the way that your brain is perceiving your own voice, if it's too hot or too low, and it's like compensating for that. But yeah, and I still even like, and I talk to Brian, our monitor guy, all the time about this, because I was like, God, is there something changing in my ears or my hearing, or, just trying to like, and he is the greatest. Like, he's so patient, and he's so, he always has great ideas. Like, what if we try this? What if we try this? So, because, and I'm still trying to dial it in, because like, I really, having not had, a background, like the last 20 years of using, in-ears or whatever, just using wedges. Like, I didn't really have anything to compare it to when I put them in, but I'd heard that same thing too from people who, friends who've used in-ears are like, oh, you're going to hate it for singing, but I do think it's like, it really is like the quality of the in-ears. And then, how good is the person who's mixing your mix? And, says, that's such a common thing. You're either going to love it or you're going to hate it. And I feel like I am now spoiled, that I got really lucky that my first experience using IEMs was, really good quality and a really great monitor engineer.
You're getting a stereo mix in your in-ears, which is like that very like almost unheard of for.
It's incredible.
First few years of in-ears, I definitely was mono the whole time.
Yeah, like when you were gone, Dom, she was saying how she'll have stuff panned in her ears, like stuff panned to where they are in relation, and I'm like, really?
It's incredible. And then like I was telling them, like, a little bit of audience mic, so that which that is like It's so
That's
key because
huge.
it doesn't sound flat, it
Yeah.
doesn't sound like you're just in this weird vacuum. It's like, oh, I'm still in a space with
Yeah.
with air moving and, everybody's kind of in my ears, everybody's kind of in space where they are in real life,
Yep.
so
Yep.
that makes a big difference too. But yeah.
Did you find yourself not with the Sphere? Because I know, when you're doing stadium tours with Kenny, you have the War Wagon as well as actually, I don't think you have a rig under the stage anymore, do you? With Kenny, you just have the War Wagon in your ears.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So with the Sphere, from what I'm told, like it's got to be a completely silent stage at the Sphere. Is that true?
Yeah, there were no man, I'm forgetting that there's a whole component to this show outside of just the visuals and the PA and
Yeah.
that like for us it was that we did have them make one concession for us, which was that because originally it was like clean stage, no sight line to any of the techs, no sight line
Oh,
to our monitor engineers which is so for us it was
yeah,
like
that's scary.
Yeah.
it's terrifying. It's the scariest thing, so that was the one concession that, because spatially we were like, "Look, we have room." So we have our monitor engineers,
Yeah.
Kenny's got his guy, and then we've got the band has, Brian there. So that was the one thing, like, God, thank goodness we can at least
Yeah.
see them, even though we all have, our 911 mics
Yep.
where we can ask for stuff. But just there's something about visually being able to see the person who's,
Yeah.
making your ears sound great. It's just like a comfort level, so, but then everything else was under the stage, which is also not our
Yeah.
norm. And so we had to kind of practice this because normally it's like on a stadium show or an arena show or whatever, like our techs are right there and we can see them. And so if you, have a moment where you got to ask for something or, there's Kenny calls an audible and
Yeah.
we skip a song on the set list that, they're right there at least,
Yep.
So for this one, like, our drummer they had a camera on him and a monitor so that his drum tech Melvin who's under the stage, who's underneath him and who's also triggering things was able to see him and communicate with him and
Wow.
and yeah, it was really, and I had a camera I think on me so that Terry could see me and I had a 911 channel and it's like guitar changes had to happen up these
Yeah.
stairs. So it's like we had to practice that for sure.
Yeah. I would imagine.
You just get so accustomed to doing things the same way,
Yeah.
that you don't realize that how different it's going to be,
That's
So,
wild.
yeah.
Hey, we need to believe it or not, we're like at almost quarter of,
We
and
are?
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I need to ask you, tell me about Rosie and the Revival.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
I'm glad I brought it up.
So, we, I don't even know. I'm trying to think of how this got started. So Rosie and the Revival it's basically our Kenny's band. It's our Chesney band without Kenny,
Mhm.
and so it's like I don't know. We put out a record and Chesney had a lot to do with sort of the beginning of this. And,
Sure.
We would be at stadiums doing a sound check. And oftentimes he wouldn't be at a sound check, or he'd be off doing some, radio stuff
Yep.
and so we would just kind of like Scoville needs, 2 or 3 songs to dial this in or whatever, or maybe we're playing in Minneapolis where we've got a roof on the stadium. And so let's just do a few songs to get things dialed in. And so we would just start kind of playing stuff that wasn't in the regular set and play, and so that started with, I think I was doing AC/DC, Whole Lot of Rosie for in the set with Chesney. And then that became like the techs who are like old school, rock and roll dudes. They were like, do AC/DC, and so we would do that at sound check. And then we just started doing all these other covers. And Chesney was like, record those. Like, I want to start putting them
Wow.
on No Shoes Radio on his Sirius XM channel. And so we would record the sound checks, and, you know, of course, Scoville made it sound incredible. And like, just like, what? We just did this at some stadium, and now it sounds like record quality, you know?
Right.
And so he started putting them out on No Shoes Radio. And then we were just kind of like, what if, and I can't remember if Kenny said it, but he was like, you guys should put out an album. And we were like, well, we can't put out an album of covers. So like, what if we just like wrote some songs? And so between all of us in different iterations, we would get together with different Nashville writers, and sometimes it would be two of us, sometimes it'd be the whole band. And we would just kind of write some tunes. And so we had a little collection of originals and some covers, and we put out a record, and then we just kind of started playing gigs. And I think it's weird. It's like, I was talking to Kenny Greenberg about this recently. Like, we actually really like each other, you know? And like, there's something about being in a band where you're like,
concept.
I know, like, I kind of like you guys. Like
you guys have dinner together and hang out, and what a concept, huh?
It's
Really
wild.
cool, like Kenny's that encouraging of stuff, because that's not a given for like a main act to be like, go do your thing, and I'll promote it. And you know, that's really cool.
Man, he is like, so he plays now that we have a record out, he plays our original songs on No Shoes Radio. And so like his fans have kind of been, you know, they're our fans, I guess, you know? And so, and even at the Sphere, man, we made like a t-shirt, because we would play a gig and people would go, you guys need merch. And we were like,
nice.
Okay,
awesome.
this is not something that, you know, we've thought about doing. And so we made a t-shirt, and he had our t-shirt up in his, you know, he had the Sphere, like the Kenny Chesney Experience at the Sphere, which is like in the Venetian Hotel. They had this like 2-story, you know, kind of like walk through memory lane of Kenny Chesney, like all, and so the fans could go in there before the show and take pictures. And there was a bar in there, and there was all these old, you know, video footage of him from, you know, early days and all that. And so, and he had a merch store in there. And so he put the Rosie and the Revival t-shirt up in the merch store. And, you know, it's just like, it's really cool, because like you guys said, that's not a given that you would be playing with somebody that's like encouraging his band to go do their own thing, you know? So
he's almost like your biggest fan.
I know. It's really sweet, actually.
Yeah.
It's super cool.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So I gotta get one of those shirts now. I would rock one of those shirts,
dude. I have to get you guys some.
Absolutely.
So we played, we actually have a show so we're going to Minneapolis. Speaking of Minneapolis, we're going to Minneapolis on this Friday, and then we're playing Farm Aid with Kenny on Saturday. And then we fly back to Nashville, and then Rosie and the Revival has a show at 3rd and Lindsley. It's for like a live, like an on-air Lightning 100. They do kind of like an artist spotlight, you know? So we're going to do that, and maybe get No Shoes Radio out to do a little, you know, kind of do their live on-air broadcasting there. We'll see. But
that's so cool.
Yeah,
and I
still
need to get you a rig for that too. Ugh.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, we'll talk about that after.
I see a lot of gear behind you. You can send her that. You got gear.
Look, hey, I love it.
Hey, I finally got the Ant-Man poster hung up.
I saw that.
Oh my gosh.
So Rach saw that as I was framing them, and she looks at me and she goes, tell me they're not going to have to dress up in an Ant-Man costume.
Oh, well, now.
I was like,
Ain't happening. Ain't happening. Sorry. That's not happening.
You've opened up the door now. So
no,
you know.
You did an Inception now.
No, maybe an Ant-Man, but not
Ant-Man. I'm Socket Boy. Let's do it.
Socket Boy. That was the thing. She's reading the poster. She goes, Ant-Man and Socket Boy.
Oh, that's so good.
I gotta send you a poster, Harmony. So
these are incredible. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, this is our new merch company, which I'll plug plugins.
Please,
that are doing it actually started with the Jack Racks.
Yeah.
So cool.
They're doing all our merch for us too. So they came up with they were digging through our archives and they're like, hey, these are some like really cool posters. Why don't we do some posters? So of course the Ant-Man came up.
Heck yeah. Oh, I love this.
So yeah, we got to send you a little care.
I would love to put one up in here.
Unreal. So are you heading out on the road with Kenny at all this summer, or is it strictly just gearing up for the Sphere?
Yeah, so we're we have this Farm Aid show that we're doing, and then he's actually about to get inducted into the Country Music Hall of Fame in October. So I'll be going to Nashville just to be a spectator in the crowd to support my friend and my boss, and then and that's kind of it for us this year. And then next year I think we'll get together and rehearse probably in like March, and we've got a couple of potential, I don't think it's been announced yet, so I won't say, but we have a couple of potential festival stuff maybe. And then we'll launch right into the Sphere. And they moved it back a little bit or forward, I guess I should say. So we'll be doing like part of June and part of July.
Okay.
So the hottest time of year in Vegas, which is great.
So as I said, you might just see me then. Rachel probably won't join me on that one. She'll be you're on your own.
Oh my gosh. I was going to say, because you guys have both like been to separate stadium shows. Like Dom, I think you guys came to like
it was SoFi.
It was SoFi. That's right. Yeah. And then Dino, you guys have been to a couple of different shows at Gillette. So
all the Gillette ones,
you guys will have to we'll have to have you guys out at the Sphere so you can see the
there's no grill on stage though.
There's no grill.
I would make that. I would absolutely love to see you, and then I would just keep driving to Zion like you said right after.
It's so once you're there, I mean, well, Dom, what is that from you guys in LA? It's like 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah, it's four to Vegas, and then probably like you said, another 3.5.
Yeah.
And then the Valley of Fire. There's so many great places in that area.
Red Rock Canyon. There's so much stuff that I didn't see this year that next year I'm like, okay, I've done Zion, so I haven't done Bryce Canyon yet, so I got to do that. Like Red Rock Canyon. Like there's just so much beautiful stuff like right there. So
Cameron asks and I know the answer to this, but I'm going to put it up. Cameron's asking, here we go. Do you use the SGTDI for your ampless rig?
Oh, yes, I do. Actually, we've been, I feel like when was the first time we got one of those from you? In fact, I got,
it was while Scoville was building the War Wagon.
That's right. Yeah.
Because that's the signal that you feed to the War Wagon right from your SGTDI.
The SGT, because I'm not a sound engineer or a super techie person, but from what I gather, the SGTDI becomes the front of the amp, basically. Is that kind of the way he has that set up? Yeah.
He has that driving the amps that are driving the speakers in the War Wagon.
Yes.
That are driving the mic pre's. Yeah, if you ever get a chance, anybody that hasn't seen the episode with Harmony and Robert,
it's so good.
Yeah, go back. It's June of last year, and Robert, the front of house engineer, front of house genius.
Oh my God.
He talks about Harmony's rig and the War Wagon and then what he built, and it's this incredible thing. So
he's like a mad scientist with that stuff, and I even told him it's like nobody's ever paid this much attention to bass, you know what I mean? And so to have somebody, and he was kind of like, look, bass is the hardest thing to mix. So if I get that right, we have won. It's like I'm winning everything else if I can get the bass dialed in like the way that we need it to be.
That's so fun. It was crystal clear. And
it's amazing.
Yeah.
Crystal clear definition wise, and you could feel it still. It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I got to say, like, he's one of the few engineers that I've never had the pleasure to work with Robert, but obviously interact with. But like most engineers, when it comes to mixing bass in front of house, they're just like, I think I told this story before. One venue we were playing and we did sound check, just a line check. and everybody checked. And when it came around, like I'm standing there on stage going, I look at the front of house guy. I says, what about the bass? He says,
Yeah.
oh yeah, I already got you.
Yeah.
was
What
like-
does that mean exactly?
What do you mean you already? He says, while you were noodling and setting up your sound, he says, I got you all set. I was like, there's no, no.
There's no way that you've got me.
Noodling,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, I got you. I was like, yeah.
Oh.
Last time I heard that, I fell off a ladder and broke my leg. And somebody said, I got you. So just
My favorite line is always, "Yep, sounds like a bass."
Yeah, that one too.
100%. I've definitely heard that. Yep. Sounds like a bass. Like,
which that brings me. So we have some new parting questions,
oh,
but so it's now what has the list grown into now, Dom? It's
You have 14 maybe? 14 questions?
yeah, hang on.
I forgot about the parting questions from the last time.
Yeah,
That's
it's 15 questions now.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
So I'll just go down the list. And,
is this a speed round?
Yeah, it's kind of like just tell us what pops into your head. You know.
And what's great is like you've probably already done most of these questions before, but you, unlike most people have been on the show maybe once, twice, but you have the opportunity to change your answers, and it's still there's no wrong answers still.
There's no wrong answers. We're just going to compare if you changed your
Yeah.
answer last year. Like, wait a second, Harmony, you said jazz bass last year.
Oh my gosh.
Which, before we get to the questions, I know I'm going on a rant here, and I'm on my 6th cup of coffee by now.
Caffeinated.
I got so caffeinated, yeah. Looking at the photo that Erin grabbed for you for this SVT time, your outfits are so on. Like, I wish yeah. I mean,
I'm surprised that this is the first time that we have mentioned the Elvis outfits in this whole in conversation, even though it has nothing to do with sound. But.
No, it has nothing. But hey, man, as Billy Crystal once said, it's not how you play or how you sound; it's how you look. So, but I gotta say, and I know we've talked about this before because you were really excited about some of the outfits that were getting put together for you.
Yeah,
I was just like. You look like $1 million in those.
Yeah.
Thank you. One of our photographers, Alistair Ann, took that photo, and I think that was maybe the first night. But yeah, Kenny, this is Kenny had this idea, and I thought he was joking. He sent me a text, and it was like a picture of Britney Spears in her late 90s Vegas residency in her white Elvis outfit, and he goes, What if you wore something like this?
Oh my gosh.
And I laughed and I thought he was kidding. And he goes, no, I'm serious. And I was like, are you asking me to wear an Elvis suit on stage in Vegas? I am available for this. And he knows. He's like, whatever he says, I'm like, let's do it. So, and then he found this designer in Nashville that was on board for making a couple of Elvis suits, and I was like, all right, we're doing this. Then I was like, wait, but I'm the only one wearing the Elvis.
Yeah,
You're
right?
not wearing an Elvis suit.
Yeah,
okay.
Coming from the guy that walks out in jeans and a cutoff.
I know. It's like, all right. Oh, he loved it. He loved it. So
well, we did too. It's absolutely. Awesome. All right, so here's the list.
Okay,
you ready?
Ready.
P bass or jazz bass?
Oh, P bass.
Okay. Passive or active?
Passive.
Okay. Rounds or flats?
Flat. I'm going flats for my, yeah.
All right. Everybody stumbles on that one.
That's a hard one.
B15 or SVT?
Ooh, B15.
Okay. Cable or wireless?
Oh, cable.
Okay. Pick or fingers?
Fingers.
Okay. We talked about this. IEMs or floor wedges?
Oh, I'm going IEMs. This is hard.
It's tough.
Pedals or no pedals?
No pedals.
Okay. Window or aisle?
Oh, window.
Wow. Okay. Wow. You jumped on that.
Yeah.
You sleep on planes.
I do. Exactly.
And guys like myself that choose the aisle, we have a different sort of itinerary.
I understand this. Yes.
High bunk or low bunk?
Oh.
Or middle bunk?
I'm a middle.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Black with white piping or silver and blue? Talking about this stuff.
Oh, silver and blue.
Okay. All right. Hot chocolate or coffee?
Coffee.
Good.
I've already had 3 cups today.
Thank you. Favorite place to eat while on the road? And it could be a specific restaurant, it could be a chain, or even a style of food. Yeah.
Oh.
See, these are new.
I mean, I would say like trying to find like a local, like if you're in a place that's known for, Mexican food, or if
Yeah.
you're in a place and there's like a Chinatown, or you're to
Yep.
go to those places where it's like, but I don't know that the style of food is
Yeah.
necessarily a thing. I'm just like, where do the locals go?
You
That's
want to
where
go.
I want to go. Yeah.
Okay. All right. All right. Cheesecake or carrot cake?
Oh,
Don't ask me what this was.
carrot cake for
Dom
sure.
and I were talking about this the other day. I was like, oh, I got to put that in the top 10.
That's a good one. It's an important
Right?
question. Yeah.
Carrot cake from Cheesecake Factory.
What's that?
Tom?
Said carrot cake from Cheesecake Factory.
Oh my gosh.
Wow. Yeah. Okay.
I love it.
All right. Last one. And this pertains to what we were talking about earlier. What is your go-to lick for sound check?
Oh. Gosh, I don't even know. It's probably like because I always want to try to like get a little bit of all the range, and so it's like sliding down on the E and doing some low stuff and then going up like on the,
Yep.
So yeah, I don't know if I have a lick, or if
Okay.
I always want to make sure to get in, and a little bit of like palm muting thumb stuff with a little bit of like high G string stuff, but
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to think about that at a sound check and go like,
see?
do I have like a go-to thing that I do, like a
You're
lick?
gonna ask, yes, you're gonna ask all this because
It's definitely a good question, because I didn't think I had anything, and then probably like 2 or 3 years into dating, Amy was like, "You play that a lot." I was just like,
That's
messing around the
so
house.
funny.
I
Oh, I
hear this a lot.
love
What
it.
is that? I'm like, oh, geez, all right.
because front of house engineers always want to hear that slappity tappity lick that you're never going to play throughout the entire night.
Right, right.
So
Oh my gosh, that's
Yeah.
so funny. Ooh, I have to think about that and get back to you guys.
Yeah,
How to,
yeah.
or I'll ask Gova like, hey, do I? And he'll go, Harm. Are you kidding me?
Of course, he's
Like
gonna say
no
that.
question, I do the same thing at sound check. I just don't quite know what it is right now. But that's
play
really
play
funny.
that lick you always play.
Yeah.
That's like telling the guitarist after the gig. I heard what you were trying on that part.
Yeah.
And it's like it's like genre dependent, So if I'm like playing something where it's like going to be super R&B, then I'll do like a little R&B run. Or if it's like, I don't know. If it's like more of a rock gig, then maybe I'll dig in a little bit more. But I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
And if you're like me, you never get to play the lick because they've always got you.
They've already got it.
They already got you.
Sounds like a bass, Dino.
Sounds like a bass. Oh, we're halfway there. Oh man.
Oh, that's funny. That
Harmoni,
is funny.
I can't take you. This is so, like I said, I didn't even do an outline for this because you know what I mean? Other than the top 15, there were no tough questions.
Man, an hour just like flies by with you guys because we're just, just kind of
we're just that much fun.
chit-chatting. I know. I love that.
Well,
we're gabbing.
I always say, this is like we have a captive audience with one another. There's no NAMM shows or 10 minutes before downbeat sort of thing. It's like we can actually sit and talk and chat, and people are listening into our conversations. So
I love that. It's kind of just like catching up with friends,
Yeah.
What a concept.
I know, right? It's almost like playing with people you enjoy hanging out with.
I know. Like I love that I say that as if that's such a novel idea, like we like each other, but it's like, oh yeah, like we choose to be in a side project with each other, even outside of like the day job,
Yeah.
So,
yeah. No, that definitely says a lot, because usually at the end of the day and after you spend all that time with one another on the road, you're kind of like, I love you dearly, but I don't want to see you for a few weeks.
Don't call me.
Yeah. Don't call me. Unless it's for another gig.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Man.
Oh, y'all.
Harmony, thank you so much for joining us. This is it's always a pleasure having you on. I always love chatting with you and just hanging out. And
Yeah, me too. This is always fun. Oh, I hear little baby too.
Let him wail, buddy. Come
Oh
on.
man, between Bronco barking at me to go out and him,
You got a lot of competing needs over there.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
I love it.
That's so funny. But no, thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
Everybody that called in again, Paul, Rachel,
Yeah.
thank you all.
Yeah. Yep, John. So I'm not going to go down the whole list, but you know who you are. And of course, Aaron and Haji in the background here for just keeping an eye on keeping a check on everything. So we're not skipping next week. We actually have another guest coming in next week for SVT time. And that is Gail Ann Dorsey who'll be joining us. So be sure to call in next Tuesday as well. So back-to-back SVT times.
I'll be listening for sure.
Awesome.
I'm a fan.
And comment in too,
Yes.
So,
yes.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody. And we will see you in 1 week. See ya.
Thank you all.
Bye, guys.
Bye.